Good day, race fans, and welcome to the Intentional Wreck podcast made for race fans by race fans. From what does he say? The lifelong gearheads, from the casuals to the
From the
lifelong
casual,
gearheads.
lifelong gearheads.
So, oh no, now I have it's audio. I'm in looping hell here as I had the podcast playing live in the background. I hope that didn't come
Oh
through the
boy,
pod. Where where it's
we're
just
off to
like
a great start.
you pull up like OBS and it's like the different layers and dimensions here. Anyways, just us two, and as Corey mentioned before, we've never done a podcast just us two.
I don't think so.
We've done a lot. We've come a long way with this podcast in terms of friends and viewership and our formats.
It's usually me that's not around.
Yeah,
Like you and Jeff have done two-man shows a bunch of times while I was traveling or whatever. But I don't.
yeah.
I genuinely think in like almost 4 years of doing this is the first time that you and I have ever done it.
There
Just the two of us.
was a scenario where you and Jeff did one when I was in
Yes,
Hawaii.
we did. It was gross. It did not go well.
The two audio video professionals, by the way, are the ones that couldn't put together the pod. That's crazy.
Yeah, but we came after the OBS, Discord, streaming, all of that. That's like,
Yeah, very true.
I mean, for those that don't know, I know it doesn't look like it, but I'm like 8 years older than Finn. We look much closer to the same age than that.
People
I don't know if
genuinely
that's good
think
for me
we
or
look
bad
like
for you.
brothers. Genuinely,
Yeah,
people
no,
think
we've
we
got
look like
that. We've
brothers.
got that before you.
I think we
So
look more
me
like
and Jeff.
brothers than like me and my youngest brothers. But obviously,
so
like
when
age
it's
hasn't hit them yet. So
but when the pod was you, me, and Jeff, it was a very sort of homogenous looking group of young men. Nick is kind of like his own thing.
uh huh.
But like you, me, and Jeff, you stand us in a lineup, and people are going to think that me and Jeff are your brothers and not your actual brothers. And actually, that goes for my brothers as well. You and Jeff both look more like my brother than my own brothers do.
I
So
want to, but this is a good point. This is a great topic that we're on here because even though some people have said we look like brothers, Jeff, we both have the same doppelganger.
who?
Me and you both look like, because I've heard this.
Kyle Schwarber.
Kyle Schwarber. So I'm going to put Kyle Schwarber here on the screen. Let me see if I can get this set up real quick here. I'm going to put Kyle Schwarber here on the screen, chat, right next to both of us. Now, when I was an MLB The Show tryhard streamer, I would get this a lot. People would say, whoa, you look like Kyle Schwarber. I think Corey looks like Kyle Schwarber. So, which one of us looks more like MLB juggernauts, home run aficionado? Exactly. Dilly says Finn no, Corey yes. I feel like it's way more you. I don't know how many different photos of Kyle Schwarber we got rolling around. So, I just think we all look like bearded white guy number 5. You know what I mean?
That is true. That is true.
I think really that's what it comes down to, and we're being stereotyped against.
Yeah.
And if there's
I also have glasses on. It's not fair. It's not a 1-to-1. It's not an apples to apples comparison right now.
nah, it's the nose for you, man. But anywho, we've done very many variations of the pod. This is the first one. I think the next one we have to break down is you and Nick alone. I think that's the next one that has to
that
occur.
almost happened on Sunday.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Tuesday.
It would have had to happen.
That almost happened.
I
Right.
was in
Yeah.
Tampa.
And it would have just been me and Nick talking Briscoe the whole time, which is kind of my plan for tonight. So
yeah, well, we will get to Briscoe. Let's talk about first what I really missed, which was the Richmond race. For the IWP, Dinger Magic wins, I think, his 3rd race of the year. Definitely his 2nd. He's the new points. So I had to do the points. I promised I would do the points at some point. I am just traveling so much. And again, a huge shout out to everybody on the admin team that's kind of picked that up. Seriously, like, we have great. I mean, how many people were even at the race? Were we over 20?
21.
Which is
20 or 21.
Which is,
it was a lower attended race, but I was kind of prepared for that.
Right.
Especially that you weren't racing.
Right.
I didn't think Nick was racing. And then you stack those two guys that you kind of expect on top of it's Richmond, and no one thinks it's going to be any fun. Yeah. And it was what I expected, 20 or 21. Yeah. I would have been like, okay, 18 maybe, but it was good. It's 20 or 21, something like that.
Yeah. No. That's good, and I'm really happy. I want to bring something up. It's a little maybe not awkward, and maybe should do it live in terms of in the Discord, but I'll do it here. If you could say something in public, you can apologize in public. Um, your boy got a little too drunk on July 4th,
well.
and again, not huge scandal, but again, you do something public, you apologize in public. And some guys posted some photos. Everybody's posting photos, and I noticed one guy had his feet out in the photo, and I jokingly zoomed in on him and screenshot. And I meant to say the comment for free, like you're posting these just for free, you know, jokes, feet pics, the whole nine. Yeah, but I forgot to put the caption, so it just looked like I just screenshotted somebody's feet. And when I did, I very much did.
You did do that.
And Bryce then like 2 minutes later put for free, so I just emojied that because that was like the comment I wanted. But again, being drunk is not an excuse. Point is, it made those fellas a little uncomfortable, and I have to remember that even though I might be comfortable joking about certain things, other people might not. It is 100% our priority to make people feel welcome in this community, right? You are always welcome to have however reactions you have. So I just want to go out there publicly and let those gentlemen know I'm very, very sorry for making you feel uncomfortable. And we hopefully we can just move. There he is in the chat right there, all good. I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. Good to go. You guys, like, I am so proud of this community, dude. It's so cool to be like, oh, I'm not doing something, or I can't make it to a race, and it doesn't feel like it's crumbling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I want to make sure I'm not. Yeah.
No, it was great, man. I mean, like, it lacks a certain like personality, a little like je ne sais quoi when you're like not there to kind of do like the Finn voice and like push things forward in your way that you do.
Mm-hmm.
But like, no, it relies it relies more heavily on the actual quality of the race.
Yeah. And from what I hear, we had a banger.
It was a banger.
All right, give me a lowdown. How what was it like? Were we green from wire to wire?
Wire to wire green.
Wow.
So it's 100 laps. Fuel window was, I mean, roughly, I think 45. You couldn't make it on a one stop, and most of the field, the guys up front two stopped it. So I split it like 34, 67, end of race, right?
Mm-hmm.
I started about 13th, and it was early on. It was a little rough, just kind of like as everything was getting spaced out in the first maybe like 4 or 5 laps. But no, man, it was clean. I raced around rookie Bobby Lee Swagger for like 75% of the race. Like he and I just battling back and forth for like, okay, which one of us is going to get this top 5? And we were like, and it was Dinger, Snugs, I forget who the third guy was, whoever came in, like the top 3 guys.
I can pull finishing
results. I finished 4th. The top 3 guys all beat me by like 14 seconds. Like dominated. Those 3 were just on their own level.
This was like me. JJ Franken was the third place finisher. And then you
and I could not, I could see them, dude. By the end of they were gone. Like I was in 4th, nervous that I was gonna get lapped. I mean, if you figure a lap at Richmond is 23, 24 seconds, and the leader, who was 4 places or 3 places ahead of me, beat me by 18 seconds.
Wow.
Like I almost got lapped in 4th place. So it's like, man, it was, but the thing is though, is that as it spaces out, not having those, and full disclosure to everybody who may or may not be listening, I think it's probably just primarily Snugs and Dilly. They know I feel this way already, but it's like, I don't see any way we can go back to having stage cautions. It doesn't, the racing has been too good to change anything now just for that reason. And I understand, like, I love Jeff. Jeff will be the first one to tell you that he's a back marker. And the stage cautions mostly are the thing that puts the guys who are like maybe your 16 to 24 finishers back in the pack, right? Because they're getting dusted most weeks, and that sucks. Or if you get in a bad wreck, that sucks. I understand all that, but being able on that track, which I would say is the hardest oval in the game. Like I would be, it'd be difficult to pick a more difficult oval than Richmond. Maybe Bristol.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to do 100 laps caution free on that track with 20 or 21 guys actually racing competitively, you can't do it better than that.
Right.
You try, and I forget, I might have been talking to Dinger like on the side. It was like, try finding that in a public lobby. It's not possible.
Or
You're
any
never
other
going to find it.
or any other NASCAR 25 league.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
more than, again, I'm not here. It's not an ego thing, but I will very routinely look up to see if there's any Twitch leagues of NASCAR 25 or YouTube clips. Not a single one of them's got more than 15 people, right?
Yeah.
And the racing is abysmal.
Yeah.
And I do want to get to the stage crossing things. I think there's some great scenarios to talk about because I want to make it very, very clear that we analyze everything from all angles. We challenge ourselves. The admin chat sometimes looks like a damn argument, just like we're screaming at you. But the main thing is we make sure that before we start making decisions on things that are going to be long-term decisions for the league, we really challenge thoughts, right? We have a lot of different experience levels, right? We've got Jeff, who is, he's more in the back of the pack, dealing new simulator games. Right. You've got Corey, who's got a great blend of experience in arcade games, racing games like Forza and NASCAR 25, as well as he's dipped his toes into the iRacing world. And then we've got me and Nick, who are really big into the iRacing world, obviously. So there's a lot of different experiences there. And then Snugs, who's a little bit of both. And then Dilly, who's a little bit of both, who's been around like F1 racing leagues and things like that. So, but before, I just want to highlight some of the good finishes that this week. The 23 finished P6, solid day. Hunwee, who I always feel like Hunwee's a guy with speed, but he either gets caught up in some wrecks or he, there's been some races he's missed. He got a P7.
He was here this week. Yep.
Yep. Got P7 there. Solomon, my fellow Jared Goff lover. I think one of the first top 10s for him on the year in the 8 car. APW 11th. Erica Michigan, didn't expect to see him down in 15th. Gonna have to update the head-to-heads for the in-season tournament. I didn't get a chance to peep those. Let me think here. New finish. Dilly Toon. All right, C place beat Dilly Toon.
Dilly had a rough night.
Dilly was
getting beat up a little bit.
And then JJ Frank. So Erica Michigan wasn't still in that. So it'll be C place versus JJ for the championship in the IWP at our next racetrack, which I believe is Indianapolis.
No, it's Kansas.
Kansas is the finale? Okay.
Yep.
I'm tripping. You're right. Schedule. Yes, Kansas. Indianapolis is the real
Iowa Homestead.
Yeah, Indianapolis is the in real life in-season tournament ender.
Yes,
so
it is, yeah.
Dinger goes back-to-back, winning at Nashville and now Richmond. So we've seen what he could do at the end of the year. So he's going.
So I have a theory.
What's up?
At some point, a conversation was had, and I'm putting you on the spot here, so I apologize.
Oh, you're fine.
At some point, a conversation was had why Dents and Nick are not racing right now.
Well,
and you're traveling for work. I know Nick had the baby.
Traveling for work. Nick had the baby, and Dents. Dents. If you recall, Dents had an injury, and he's back to work, and he's been working a lot. And I think that I had to talk.
It's just coincidence. Yeah, those two guys are not here right now.
Yeah, I had to talk with the iRacing group, right? Because there was conversations. Should we, like, some guys were like, "Hey, we want to do an IWP iRacing league," and I said, "Full stop. Hey, we are this, right? We love the iRacing stuff. We love the camaraderie. We want to bring over as many guys interested in iRacing as possible to that because we genuinely believe it's a fun game and fun experience." I'm not too worried because with the next game being cross-plat and the momentum we've had, right, I fully intend to continue to still be this, you know what I mean, to do NASCAR 25. I'm trying to figure out what I can do that isn't going to be me lagging and being like an APW clone where I'm just appearing on the track and coming back on travel, like with the gaming laptop on the go. And that helps, right? Because I can't bring my, I'm not gonna bring my Xbox everywhere, but I can bring my laptop with me and game. But
Right, and still a controller, yeah.
we will be able to consolidate and bring, continue to bring, a NASCAR 25 league. I'm not going to ask anybody that really doesn't want to do it to not do it. If you want to be in this community and just do iRacing, that's cool. We will find people. I promise you. We're going to be good in terms of a league and numbers. But I don't think there's anything very specific here that's like going on. Like those guys don't
Well,
want
it's
to
going to
race.
get even easier too once the cross play. I mean, when 26 comes out and it goes like I'm going to play on PC. I'll tell you that right now.
I think
Like I am getting
yeah,
26 on PC full stop, no question.
yeah. I
My
think
PC is way better than a Series S.
I think the
And my
right.
PC
Yep.
is like it's almost 8 years old and it's still better than Series S.
Yeah, I think momentum will help. It's important to remember, like this game came out in October. You know what I mean? And we're halfway through July. We have been playing a lot of this game, and this happened in my Madden leagues and my NCAA leagues, right? Where we start in the fall, and then by March, April, it's just, hey, I'm kind of done with this game for a while, and that is totally okay. And that's why we've been doing the luxury of testing and doing different things. But let's talk about what you mentioned, which is the stage caution. So, just to be clear, we are very happy with the racing product, and we're very proud of the guys making efforts. The plus side about having this no stage cautions is this. One, and this is what we want people to notice. The biggest thing that it's make people miss it is not the bad drivers per se. Those guys are here for a good time. They probably need that green track time. As much as you guys don't realize it, running under green flag conditions is going to be laps. Who cares if your average running position is 8th if half the race is under yellow? You know what I mean? You need to be getting out there running laps and practicing.
In this game, you don't even have to do anything under yellow.
Right.
Like at least in iRacing, you have to like pay attention and not run into the people around you. You do nothing in this game.
No, where the people that I see that are calling for stage cautions comes back are definitely going to be more of the guys that are up front. And what it is you maybe didn't qualify well, you get caught in a spin, and then you have nothing to help you recover throughout the race. And we understand that because that's relaxed cautions, because after that initial wreck, everybody then gets strung out, and then you'll never get a caution, and then now you're spending the whole race. And to that, there's a obvious answer, which is this is going to teach you the patience you need for racing. This is a lesson everybody learns in iRacing as they go through the iRating levels is, oh my God, I'm pushing way too hard at the beginning of this race. And I'm putting myself in bad situations in the beginning of this race. Now, there are things that you're not going to be able to control, but iRacing has more cautions than what we see here. So there is that, right? There is validity to that thought of, hey, what if we went to strict cautions? Because as long as we get through that initial start, that's going to be on the league, right? That still means that not a single car can't spin on a restart.
Right.
But then once we get going, we should be good for a while. And then if we get a spinner or something, but
the problem is we can't get there, dude. We've tried. Right. I mean, we've had. I'm not going to sit here and be doom and gloom and say that it never happened, but the consistency of the last couple of weeks and how good the racing has been since I've been back, since I came back from, my wife having the baby,
right?
It's been no stage cautions that I remember anyway, and it changes the way you have to approach it. But the racing has been so good that it's like, what's the common denominator here? Well, we made this one big change, and at the very least, it's like things are there, and we have a huge, I don't want to call it a skill gap, I'll say a speed disparity, right? Where the guys that are fast, and the guys that are not, who are, it's respectable, right? It's just different, a different way of kind of being able to run the game. But you get spread out, and once you get spread out, and the guys that are fast can put lappers behind them and stuff like that. There's a flow to it that feels more like an actual stock car race, more so than just constantly restarting pit strategies. Like all it takes is one guy forgetting to press one button on a pit cycle, and now the whole field is wrecking behind him, and everybody's got damage, and it just throws the whole thing up in the air. And it's like, why are we dealing with that?
Right. Yeah.
We should deal with that as little as possible.
Yeah. And
so that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, I mean, it really going to come down to, hey, where are you qualifying in this race? You know, and if you qualify 17th, I'm not mad if you say, hey, I'd rather just start in the rear and just let them go and run these
Yeah,
guys out. We have seen scenarios where the speed will, if you've got the speed, you will run down the people you need to run down, right?
yeah,
And if you can't qualify well, you problem, right?
right.
If
Yes,
you
that's
cannot
me.
qualify
I
well,
qualify like ass every
right.
week, dude.
If you cannot qualify, it's a you problem. Getting through the start of a race clean, I think, is not necessarily a you problem because there's a lot of cars that are in there and some are on controller and some are wheel and some people miss a corner and it's considered a casual league. I just want to make sure that people understand, like, we're not trying to prioritize like the most like remember, we are always community over competition, but we will not have a community if our races are done in 10 minutes because it's just yellow flags eating 5 to 10 lap chunks of the
Yeah.
race, right? I am curious in a 2x tire wear thing. I am seeing some scenario where like
And
fuel windows are looking weird and people
I
want
can
like,
understand
yeah, they
that,
don't want to
right?
save, they'd rather just be able to
Right.
push, but there's an element. So I wouldn't be against looking down that direction. Again, make
I
it track
wouldn't either.
specific, right?
Well, and like that's something worth trying. I would say let's not turn it up. If anything, we're turning it down. But just an example to your point, my average start is 12.2. My average finish is 5.1.
Right.
So I'm almost averaging a top 5.
Yeah.
And I qualify like shit. So it's like it's really the league when you space everything out a little bit, it becomes about long run speed. How can you actually race this track? Not how many people can you run over and get lucky on restarts, right? And I'm certainly not bashing any specific person, but it's just like that's what it is. It's when we have like a 6 caution race, it's a total crapshoot, and we haven't had that.
Yeah.
To run 100 laps green flag at that track is very telling. And as soon as that race ended, I talked to Snugs and I was like, dude,
Gotcha.
we cannot bring stage cautions back.
Yeah. I want to do, again, as long as that racing product is good, and people realize the racing product being good can feel like a boring green flag race. And in iRacing, yes, it is good when there's like a good mix of cautions to help reset the field, allow some guys that have some damage. And for what it's worth, we will reevaluate all rules when the next game comes out on what is available to us as admins. So just like, just want everybody know we're going to give it its due diligence, right? We're really happy with the product, and part of that is you guys. Part of that is the rule set. Not to mention going forward, we're going to have, it's assuming we have the growth that's expected. I sound like a sales guy. I am a sales guy.
No, it's true though.
If we have the growth expected and we end up splitting into 2 leagues, then the Cup Series might have that ability to do something, knowing that those guys have proven a higher standard of racing, right? Versus what the Xfinity guys might have to make sure that they're not caution riddled races. So we will see, but I'm super stoked, and it's really cool to hear that that Richmond went green. That's genuinely an accomplishment of, and not only that, like the top guys. It didn't sound like the top guys were all wrecking each other or anything like that. Looks like
No,
there
it
was
was
good
clean.
battles.
There was no wrecks at all.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no people were. There was a couple guys who like got loose off of 2 and kind of bit the inside wall a little bit. It happens. It's Richmond. Like that's
Right.
It's gonna happen. But not enough to bring out a caution. And those guys would, bank off. I think I want to say it was Shanzi hit the wall a couple times. Not to pick on him, but like I think like just like maybe 10 laps into the race, Shanzi bit it coming off of 2, pitted, got his damage repaired, got back on the track, and got back to racing. It's like you could do that when it's not shutting everyone's rhythm down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one. And the Richmond is a tough track where like, yeah, like one self spin could fuck you, and then also like we don't want one self spin to lead to everything getting a restack because it's just gonna be chaos. So, but I think as long as you guys are honest, we're gonna be doing the same thing we did last year with awards and the feedback. So please give please give all your feedback as much as you can, and anything you see in other leagues, or no idea is a bad idea, right? Just we gotta make sure it works for us. Actually, some ideas are bad. Most of Shanzi's ideas are bad ideas. Everything else is a pretty much good idea. So, but I'm super stoked. We got a good in season RPM, but Juggernauts battling it out here at a very fun racetrack, Kansas, the home track for like half our league, which I guess, you know what? It makes sense. There's nothing to do in Kansas but play console racing games. So
that's true.
That would explain why most of those guys are in the league. We don't have there's not a lot of California NASCAR 25 leagues. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't think so.
100%.
They do NASCAR video games and college basketball. That's what they do in Kansas.
They used to be a college basketball school.
Yeah, that's true.
Not anymore. So, all right, let's pivot to now. That's a sales guy talking. Let's talk a bit about your boy. The name of the pod this week is Briscoe's Back. All right. Shout out to the guys in the chat that get the reference. Bryce Hedgecock definitely does not get the reference. That dude doesn't know anything about old music. It's crazy that that's old music these days. All right, so Briscoe gets his first win of the season. Holds off a hard-charging Christopher Bell during the last few laps. It seems like most of his wins, he's holding off a hard-charging Reddick at his last win at Darlington. If there's one thing I've noticed about Chase Briscoe, that if they solve this dude, I think a championship is imminent. It's long-run speed.
Okay. Yeah.
That's probably the one thing I've noticed. The 19, he shoots out to the front.
Yeah.
He's gaining positions. But it doesn't seem like he's got the long-run speed that Denny had. Or that...
He had it at Darlington. But here's the thing, though. Just because he has it doesn't mean that other people don't have it, too. So, like, at Darlington, at the Southern 500 that we went to, yes. I mean, he led... 90% of that.
So,
race.
yes, I think a good chunk of that was the fact that he was out front for most of it, and that helped.
Yes.
He didn't have the long run speed that Jones and Reddick had. However, he had enough short run speed that he was so far ahead of them.
Yeah.
Right? That was like an anomaly. Like if he didn't have, if he was 2/10 or a tenth slower on the car on takeoff, then he gets caught on some of these runs. But this race, he was running down. They both ran down Byron and passed Byron. And then they came down pit road.
Chase passed Byron on a pit strategy.
I think
he short pitted Byron by 1 lap.
Was it Byron or was it Hamlin?
Briscoe short pitted Byron by 1 lap, got out in front of him, and that was it. And old Dirty Air Willie B had nothing for him for the rest of the race.
So if I recall, they came down pit road because there was a caution that came out. And Byron was back in front of Briscoe. It was Byron, Briscoe, Hamlin at that point. I don't know if he was able to catch up to Byron on the short pit. I know he got past Hamlin on the short pit.
His first lead of the day came on short pitting Byron. I don't know. I don't remember a caution. I don't remember.
No, this was like end of the race. So they both were running down somebody, Byron. I think they got by him or they were going. And he short pit. I think Hamlin may have just caught him. And he came down in short pit and came out ahead of Hamlin. I guess I wasn't tracking if Byron was the true leader at that point. But the point is there was a weird caution that came out. I think somebody was like leaking fluid or something. I think it might have been Reddick or something.
Yeah, it was Reddick.
Blew up.
Reddick's like radiator blew up.
But Hamlin, because after this run, well, I think there might have been one more pit stop cycle after that, because then they went taking off and Hamlin ran super long and ended up like 9 seconds behind them on the pit cycle. He went long by like 2 laps.
Yes.
And 2 or 3 laps. And honestly, I think even if he did hit the wall, I don't think he was going to catch him for 2 reasons. One, to catch Briscoe, he would have had to catch Bell. I think Bell was a little too fast and they would have killed their tires getting past each other to try to catch Briscoe.
Yeah.
2, I think Briscoe is managing the gap well. I think the reason Bell got so close at the end is because these lap cars are not moving, bro. They are not moving.
They were not doing him any favors at all.
And with how aero blocky it can be in these cars, he was just dealing with, that. But I think that's probably their last gap. I mean, a second at Sonoma. They've been really good at the road courses. Obviously, the 1.5 speed at Toyota. I'm curious to see. The one thing he hasn't won at since he's been at the 19 has been a short track, right? He won Darlington, Pocono, Talladega, Chicagoland.
Yeah.
He was really good at Martinsville. He's really good at Phoenix, which I classify as a shorter track, 750 package. That's probably, and he hasn't won at the other ones. Like, well, he's won Dega.
He hasn't really been competitive at Phoenix since going to JGR.
Yeah, he's been
Not
pretty.
that I can remember.
Yeah,
I mean, that's Penske land.
Yeah, he's been pretty competitive in these road courses. Coda was a great example before a car failure. He's always kind of been
second.
Sonoma back-to-back years of P2. So that 19 team's getting hot when they need to. Reddick is not getting hot. About as cold as you can get recently.
Tale of two seasons for that guy. Wild to win 5 of the first 9, and then I think he's finished the last 5 races outside of the top 25.
Yeah,
like insane. Like off a cliff, needs to be studied section of Tyler Reddick's season here. Insane.
Yeah,
they're having car problems, and it's not his fault. He didn't blow up the radiator, but
he was second at Pocono, but 35th at Michigan, 25th at the street course, 30. I think just back-to-back bad road course races, and then of course Chicagoland went to shit. He still got the speed everywhere for the most places that they go. But he's
he's a safe bet to win anywhere we go, any given week.
Yeah, but he's got to figure it out from a championship perspective. So I did like that Byron showed a little bit of life, winning both stages, and Larson and Sully Spun had quite a bit of speed, and then Alex Bowman finished 5th. So Hendrick certainly seems to be figuring something out, which I don't know if that's enough to compete for a championship unless the 5 goes crazy. But I mean, Bowman's about the 32 seed this freaking bracket, dude. The in-season tournament.
So crazy.
Yeah, he's got Gilliland. Now, it is going to be Atlanta, right? So, like, anything can happen.
Anything can happen, yeah.
But he's got Gilliland. So, I think he's got the easiest matchup of anybody else because there's Briscoe Elliott, Hamlin Bell, Byron Blaney. So, for Bowman to be able to get Gilliland and then whoever remains of Briscoe Elliott, and if you're Bowman, you have to hope it's Chase Elliott because Briscoe's going to win Briscoe's going to have the speed at Indy over you. But
yeah,
if you're in the same car,
he'll be juiced up for Indy, dude.
Yeah.
And just dying to go kill it. I mean, that's his like dream to win that race.
Right. So Chicagoland, return to Chicagoland, good racing in your opinion?
I like it.
Happy with it?
I don't know enough about the history of it to really like speak to whether this was a Chicagolandy type of race, but like,
so we mentioned
1.5 ovals, man. It's hard to miss. It's hard to miss.
Again, it seems crazy now, but Texas, Atlanta, Kansas, Charlotte, Vegas, Chicagoland, a good chunk of these races, not only like they had 2 races a year, right? There were 2 Vegas races, 2 Charlotte races. I believe there were 2 Texas races, at least 1 Texas race, 2 Atlanta races. So over half the schedule was these 1.5-mile tracks. And with the high horsepower, I mean, I tell you, like literally Google a year from 2003 to 2012 Chicagoland, and it's a good race. Like objectively, it's a good race. I think people were just fatigued with how many of that style of racing was. And I'm going to bring up my boy, but a certain individual happened to be way better than everybody else at it.
Right.
Okay? Way better than everybody else. You know what I mean? It was literally like, again, Jimmy Glaze. But if Jimmy wasn't dominating the race, you'd be riding the whole race up front. You're like, fuck yeah, we're going to win this race. And you look up in the mirror on your restart, and there he is, a big ass Lowe's logo in your mirror. And you're like, where the fuck did this guy come from? But it was heaven for guys that like this style of racing now. But I really genuinely think it was fatigue. And then it was the 550 package that really changed how a lot of those raced, right? So Chicagoland in particular, it was probably the least liked of the 1.5-mile races in that era. Don't know why.
Okay.
But then we get to the 550 package, and it raced a lot like how Michigan races now.
Okay.
Right? A lot of on throttle, a lot of momentum based racing. You really can't complete a pass by yourself unless the person you like they become one lane tracks, and unless you can get that one person out of the lane and kind of, going, or you pass them but they're on the high lane, they get much momentum, so we're just kind of passing each other back and forth.
Right.
So it didn't really have like that much. Again, it was just another one of the tracks that kind of got ruined by that kind of package. So there really isn't like a trademark feel for that. Whereas when I tell you, like, back in the early, like, in that era for Charlotte, right? Like, seeing Casey Kane on the high lane, wrapping the wall at Charlotte, and then Jimmy down low. Like, there was, like, you knew those guys. Jimmy's going to. I don't think I've seen a single Charlotte race where Jimmy Johnson was on the high lane, like what we've seen lately in that, Briscoe run,
Right.
that lane.
Yeah.
And then you got Casey Kane, who is and Dale Jr., who are exclusively up there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and you could just find speed, and like that was like what you knew you were getting with Charlotte, was like, okay, whose setup is going to work this year? Because two completely different styles and incredibly fast. Whereas it really doesn't. Are we seeing races even in this package? I'll challenge people. If one guy's up high, they're all up high. If one guy's low, they're all low.
Is the same design as Auto Club. Is that right? Do I have that right? It's
like no, it
pretty
just
much the same.
So I think people think that because the racing felt like how Auto Club and Michigan race now. So like mentally, but it is only a 1.5 mile track.
Right. And okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it definitely, there was a lot of lanes going on for sure. I mean, those restarts would come and there was guys 3, 4, whatever, all over that track trying to find some speed. But a lot of that is, you're going to be faster when you're not directly in somebody's wake. That's kind of the way these cars are designed to work. So as they move around, they get their grip together. But yeah, I mean, Briscoe was running the bottom in 3 and 4, running a little bit higher in 1 and 2, or kind of like a middle line in 1 and 2, and Bell was running the wall for the most part and catching him, running him down, but could never actually pass him because Chase was able to manipulate the air. So, and I mean, I think Bell I think Bell screwed up with like 2 laps to go, and the gap got too big, or on the last lap, gap got too big, and you just couldn't get him. But yeah, I mean, it was a great race, man. I mean, it's always refreshing when they do something that I've never seen before, and it's like, oh, that was it was a good time.
Yeah.
And I mean, to go from that to Atlanta, I mean, this whole section of the schedule right here is like, oh yeah, nothing but bangers.
Love
that.
I'm very interested to then follow that up with like North Wilkesboro and that kind of short track feel. With the 750 package, I do think I think Chicagoland is a great race, and of like, if the 750 package was there, it would be just a smidge better. It did feel like it was really hard to single car pass on this one, and it took many laps to get by somebody. But if the 750 package was there with that old service and just like higher power, more fall off, and even more with the track surface, I think Chicagoland could consider one of the best races of the year. Interesting though that there's talk of the street course coming back. So do we have any issues with that market having 2 races?
No.
Would you run them back to back?
Geographically, I don't know. I mean, that would be a logistics question.
So you would
care.
have to run them in the same part of the season, right? Because Chicago, like, you can't really race in Chicago in February, March, and April. And then you're not going to do it in October, November. Like, it's starting to get a little too chilly. So it has to be
2 races in the summer, sure.
Summer. I mean, you go up and do a Chicago street course in Michigan and come back. Now, granted, it doesn't really matter from a travel perspective. They still have to go back to Charlotte to get the cars. Right. But maybe from a crew standpoint or something, combine that with the Michigan or a Pocono part of the year.
I mean, yeah, doesn't
you think back to a couple years ago when we went Pocono, Mexico City, Michigan?
I will tell you this: that place was absolutely packed.
Yeah, no,
I mean, those grandstands were full.
Yeah, there's a lot of NASCAR fans out there. Yep, and it's a good drive from a lot of like just fans in those area to get to the racetrack, because they don't have like a true mile and a half oval. You know, they've got Michigan up there and they've got Indy, but I think this is still the
The
premier
next
style.
closest one is what? Maybe Charlotte? Like
Oh, Worldwide Technology, unless you're talking about mile and a half, Kansas.
mile and a half. Yeah. Oh, Kansas. Yeah. Okay.
So, um,
Still a hike.
so pretty good there. But good win. I always like when Briscoe wins. He's one of my backup drivers for when Bowman isn't doing anything, and Bowman did not do anything this time. Top 5 for the boy, and one of the last guys in the in-season tournament. Talked about those. So on to Atlanta. I mean, there's not too much to break down, right? Survive.
No. Love it.
Survive.
Love it.
So
Inject Atlanta directly into my veins every
go.
time we go.
There you go.
I mean, like, dude, it's super speedway racing on a mile and a half. What's not to love? And it's a place where, having been a Briscoe fan now for a couple years, he's just gonna try stuff.
Right.
And it's like, dude, what are you thinking? But he's gonna do it anyway. And I like that.
Right.
Like that mentality. He's a little bit of like a mild mannered guy, but for some reason when he goes to Atlanta, it's like, I'm just gonna start choosing violence.
I'm stoked because it's a fun track. It's the most fun of the super speedway of the plate races, and we don't have a scenario where Joey Logano can win and be in the playoffs. So I'm all for it. You know what I mean? I
Sure.
You know, it's a real turning point here. I want to take a look at the schedule. While I look this up, have you seen all the Zane Smith Hocevar rivalry? I think it's one-sided. No. Zane Smith went on. So Bussin' with the Boys does this thing called Racing with the Boys now. And they've been bringing on NASCAR drivers for weeks. Yeah. And they had Zane Smith and Riley Herbst on recently. And I think they kind of got, Zane's been pretty outspoken about that, because Zane was at Spire for a year with Hocevar, if you recall. Before he went to, he was in the 77 before McDowell, I believe.
Okay.
And he was like, everybody there knows he's a, I can't remember exactly, but basically like, it's fake and he's, shitty. Just not, I guess he doesn't like him. Doesn't like him on a human level. And
well, I mean,
and he said everybody at the shop there knows it. And I'm like, well, he fucking wins them races, so
Yeah. And to his credit, I know I've said this before, I actually met Carson Hocevar at Richmond. Couldn't have been a nicer guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a very, very short conversation, but super, super nice. I was standing there with maybe like 5 or 10 people, just kind of, I don't know, before the race. I don't remember if he wasn't in Cup yet. It was 2 or 3 years ago. And just couldn't have been a nicer guy, man. Very, very cool. Super tall.
Yep. You'd be surprised.
Weirdly tall for a NASCAR driver.
Yep. We got Atlanta, North Wilkesboro, Indianapolis, Iowa, gonna be a banger, 750 package. Richmond, 750 package. New Hampshire, 750 package. So a little short track, and then a Daytona, and then we're in the playoffs. So if you are not a short track guy, because you got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those races left, you have got 2 plate races in Indy to figure out how to get yourself in the best points position possible for the playoffs. That's unique, man. We're going to have, I think there's just going to be a little bit more urgency, and that's going to make those short track tempers are already starting to flare. Bunch of guys going to, there's a lot of pressure to make the playoffs.
You want to do a little, you want to close it out here with a little bit of who's in and who's out? Start making some predictions for playoffs?
Yeah. Let's do it. All right, I got my playoffs pulled up here. So how do you want to do this?
I think we're all going to agree. So I'm looking at the standings. Let's see where you and I agree.
Let's go 12. Let's go 12 through 20.
Okay. Byron's in.
I'm in on Byron.
Are you comfortable that the top 11 are all in, including Suarez and Bell? I would even put Bell in that, like.
Let's go 11 through 20. 11 through 20. So Suarez through Keselowski. Just to be clear, we're gonna say in and out. Obviously, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positions available in this. We're not gonna do the counting math, right? But like the point is, based on where they are you confident that they can go there? Okay, Daniel Suarez, are you in or out?
I'm in. I
I'm
think Suarez is in.
I'm also in.
I'm thinking barely, but in.
Yeah.
Cut line-ish by the time we get there. Because he is on a downslope and has not been fast and really only has a win because of weather.
The reason why I think he's in is the plate races.
Okay.
He's not exactly the short track aficionado of the league, but they've got some speed, and I think that he's going to put him. And I think he's enough of a veteran to understand what he needs to do here. Okay.
Okay.
So that's where I'm in. It's tough, but he's also over 100 points ahead of Keselowski, who's all the way back, and he's actually 100 points ahead of Eric Jones in 16th right now.
Yes.
So he's got a big enough buffer. He's done the hard work.
Yeah.
Now it's just be the
He's
consistent
in,
work.
This is what I mean. He could slide 50 points closer to the cut line, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Everybody else on this list a lot of guys on this list need to figure it the fuck out. Daniel Suarez doesn't. He just needs to coast and be put together 15th. Stage points. You know what I mean?
Look at the laps. I know. I'm the laps led.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. 38.
Of guys in the top 14, he's led 38 laps. That's like a quarter of the guys around him.
Yeah, but
Christopher Bell, one place ahead of him, has led 417 laps.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be any finish to playoffs any higher than those guys. I just think he's in.
The big thing helping him too is the one DNF.
Yep. All right, William Byron.
In and going up.
And then going up?
Yeah, in and going up. I think probably he overtakes Hocevar, probably catches Bell, somewhere in that range.
Yeah,
I mean, like you said, Hendrick is figuring it out. They're getting faster.
I mean, he's right. 5th at Martinsville, 7th at Phoenix. He's been decent in this package. 7th at Dover. And then coming off of probably his best true performance. Vegas might have been his best true performance. He was running down the leaders, but finally out there leading laps, looking competitive for the win. So I'm going to be in on William Byron. So next on that list is Bubba Wallace. In. Obviously, the Toyota speed and the fact that he was really good at Indy last year.
And here's where the 50-point gap comes in.
Yeah.
To the guys, to the next 3 guys.
Yep.
So that bubble right there between Bubba and SVG is what's going to keep Bubba in.
Okay. SVG, are you in or out?
I'm out.
You're out. What's your reasoning?
I'm out because we don't have any road courses left and his gap is not big enough.
I am out because he is not going to be qualifying up front next week.
True.
And next week doesn't matter. But if he can't, I am out unless he can find a way to finish high at Atlanta and keep qualifying at the end of the race or at the end of the order so that he can be a little bit close to the front, right? And have better qualifying. I think he's really good, in that mile and a half package we saw, in the Clash, if you remember, or Bowman Gray, he was out there leading some laps. He's obviously, he's a really good day at Martinsville, finished 11th in that race. And, like a New Hampshire, I think he could do good. North Wilkesboro, I think he could impress. But he's not in a scenario where he could be finishing 15th and make it. You know what I mean?
Nope. And, the other reason why, he's got the 2, the 60, the 22, and the 6 all right there with 2 more plate races on the calendar.
Yes. If Shane wants to get in, you have got to find a way to be moderately consistent in these short tracks and get good, safe finishes on those plate races. We cannot do DNFs here, Shane.
Yes.
Do not get caught. Now, he is more than capable of getting up there and running up front in a plate race.
He has.
So that's not an issue. You got 2, I'll call them not freebies, but hey, your car isn't going to matter here. Just be smart, be in the right spot. But I think there's a path in, but I am out. Cindric.
In.
Cindric is...
Because he's in. Cindric has been having a very quiet, very good season for Austin Cindric.
Yeah. He's gotten a little bit more competitive for sure. I'm out. I think he needs to be a guy who needs to go and finish top 5 in these races, and I don't think Ford's there. I don't think the Penske Fords are there. So I'm out on Cindric. Let's go Eric Jones. I'll lead with this one. I am out on Eric Jones.
Ooh,
Legacy Motor Club has had a huge improvement on mile and a halves. They're kind of, again, plate races are plate races. And if he has the speed he had at Pocono, he should have the speed at Indianapolis. But they feel abysmal at short tracks. I just don't think that they've got the short track package figured out, and I think there's too many of them. And he is not a guy who can have a bad race. He is literally on the cut line. He's only 4 points ahead of a Ryan Preece, who is a very good short track racer and one of the better Fords in the field.
Yes.
So
Preece, to touch on that, Preece is in.
I think to put Jones out is to put Preece in. In my opinion.
I think to put SVG out is to put Preece in. But I'll take your reasoning as well.
Right. Preece is, they've been solid. He's a really, really good short track driver. We're bringing up a bunch of short track drivers, and of course, we've seen the RFK guys in the plate races get up front. So I think this Ryan can do a good job here. So we're in on him. Joey Logano.
Probably my last guy in.
I'm out on Joey Logano.
He will get in by the skin of his teeth.
But he's got
SVG
1 top 10 since Charlotte, 2 top 10 since Kansas. He has more finishes in the 30s than he does higher than like 12th.
Oh, it's a garbage year.
And
he's still gonna make
a win can't save him. Win can't save him. So
you're talking about 20 points that he needs to make up on someone like Eric Jones.
Nope.
With Eric Jones moving up, he needs to be like I don't know.
I'm more confident.
I feel like Logano's finding his way in. That experience is going to pay off. Not that SVG is going to crumble, but we're not in. SVG is getting screwed by the format change.
I think it is more likely that SVG stays in than Logano finds the speed to make it in.
That's fair. I think that's a 50-50.
He did run 12th this week, but oh my gosh, they're just abysmal. And what Logano can do to help himself is what I said about Shane. Have a good finish at Atlanta and get to qualify in the rear and finally have a chance to be up front, because he started 31st last week on speed.
Yeah.
AJ Allmendinger.
Out.
I love the season he's having, though.
Yes, I'm not.
Are you aware that they have no help from Chevy?
Yes.
So, yeah, that's incredible. AJ is doing great. He's tied with Joey Logano. I think you're more likely AJ gets in than Logano as well.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is.
Dude, the Fords are slow. It's not necessarily a Logano thing. If Logano was in a Toyota, he'd be in the top 10. It's not a Logano thing. But something's going on in 22 shop.
Yes, I agree with that. And it's odd for them, but I mean, it's very clearly Toyota's year. I mean, that's pretty obvious, but I mean, it's tough when Blaney's sitting there in third to think that why, and he's kind of doubled up in points almost, dude.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So what's going on there? Obviously it's something, and I don't think it's it's obviously not the driver. I mean, he's a 3-time champion, but
he's not particularly old, right? What's he, like 36?
Something like that.
36. Yeah, he's 36. So it's not like we're seeing an aging, but I do think it could be, again, going back to our big argument, but I feel like I've been watching Penske just get worse and worse and worse, and some call Mickey Mouse, or don't call Mickey Mouse, but some championships I think made them believe that they were as up to speed as the other cars. Now
that may be true, but them rings are real heavy though.
They're heavy. That's fine.
They're just as heavy as everybody else's rings.
That's fine. A ring's a ring. You won in the same. They had the race the same format as everybody else, but week to week speed was not there. This is a car that had something not. If Alex Bowman doesn't hit the turtle on the Roval and a piece come out of his car, they don't advance. They don't win a championship. And I think they realize 2 years ahead of time 3 years ahead of time because it was Logano then Blaney, right? 3 years ahead of time, they go,
Yes.
oh, fuck, maybe we're not as fast as everybody else. And I watched the Penske's get.
Are you prepared to have that conversation about Kyle Larson then? Because that last championship, he had no business winning. That was Denny's.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, the championship format across the board was awful, right? Like I just agree across the, like, I wanted Denny to win that championship. I did. But I don't know if Denny is the full season, like, worthy guy, full season worthy champion. I don't have those stats kind of up in front of me.
Sure.
I think Briscoe was probably, I think across the whole end of the season, I think the fastest car for a majority of that year was Chase Briscoe. I think after that string of time where I can't remember exact, I think Charlotte, when he got third at Charlotte at the 600, I think from that point on, he was better than everybody consistently week to week. The night team was leading every single race at some point in that race. And I think he is probably my deserved champion of that year. I'd have to go back and look at a little bit more stats. He only had 3 wins. I don't know who had the most wins last year, but
I think it was actually, don't quote me on this, but I think the people that do the Winston Cup like standings, I don't think it was actually Chase Elliott.
I mean, Hamlin did have 6 wins last year, so but there's there's credit there, but both of these guys had 15 top 5s, roughly around the same top 10s. Larson had 22 top 10s, but like, yeah, there are a lot of guys. Blaney had 4 wins. Bell had 4 wins. There are a lot of guys. Shane had 5 wins. God, that's so crazy. Just the dude sitting down there, 5 wins was gnarly.
Disgusting.
But, I'm okay with saying Denny deserved that championship and that Kyle didn't. Yeah. Because Kyle hasn't won a race in over a year. And one of the best, I can't say best car in the field this year, but, historically one of the better cars in the field. So, okay, and then I think we're both out on Brad.
Yes.
So it's going to be fun. And that's what this is for, right? No more one race win. Zane Smith can't win a race here and knocks one person out, right? It literally is going to be like, who can be the most consistent? And that's what we were looking for. So that's super exciting.
The full season winner last year was Christopher Bell. Actually, 2 years in a row, 24 and 25.
I think Bell, for what it's worth, I think Bell
classic Winston Cup scoring. Christopher Bell won the last 2 championships.
Yeah,
that's crazy, dude.
Bell should have a championship. Team failed him in the final race. But, the next question: will Alex Bowman finish top 20 in points? He's 29th. He's 126 points behind Keselowski.
No, that's too much. That's too much to make up.
With 4 less starts.
It's too much.
I'm in.
I mean, it's not his fault. He's got 4 less. That's the homerism. But okay.
Yes, that's the battle I'm watching. That's what everybody really came for. Can Alex Bowman get a top 20 with the 4?
Crack the top 20.
Spotting the field, a 4 race head start. All right. Does he have more laps led than these guys? Alex Bowman has 0 laps led this year. All right. That's where we're going to end it here.
Not great.
Appreciate you, everybody, following in on a Thursday where we're a little off schedule. We'll try to keep it to Tuesdays as much as we can, but this one kind of threw us for a loop because I forgot I was traveling this week. That being said, enjoy the races this weekend. Stay safe. Excited to see you guys next week. Kansas, IWP in-season tournament championship. Money on the line. Pride on the line. And Dinger Magic's not in there. It's RPM boys. So, that'll do it for us. Any last words there, Corey?
No, not really. Just thanks to the guys for showing up in the chat as always. And